Bill and Ben are tank engines who live at a port on Edward's Line. Each has 4 wheels, a tiny chimney and dome, and a small squat cab. They're kept busy pulling trucks for ships in the harbour and engines on the main line. The trucks are filled with china clay dug from the nearby hills. China clay is important. It's needed for pottery, paper, paint, plastics, and many other things. One morning, they arranged some trucks and went away for more. They returned to find them all gone. They were most surprised. Their drivers examined a patch of oil. "That's a diesel," they said, wiping the rails clean. "It's a wattle?" asked Bill. "A diseasel, I think," replied Ben. "There's a notice about them in our shed. I remember coughs and sneezels spread diseasels. Who had a cough in his smoke box yesterday? Fireman cleaned it, didn't he? Yes. But the dust made him sneezel, so there you are. It's your fault the diseasel came. It isn't, it is." "Stop arguing, you two," laughed their drivers. "Come on, let's go and rescue our trucks." Bill and Ben were aghast. "But he'll magic us away like the trucks." Their drivers laughed. "He won't magic us. We'll more likely magic him. Listen, he doesn't know you're twins. So we'll take your names and numbers off, and then this is what we'll do." Bill and Ben chuckled with delight. "Come on, let's go," they said eagerly. Creeping into Edward's yard, they found the diesel on a siding with the missing trucks. Ben hid behind, but Bill went boldly alongside and stood facing the diesel on the points leading out to the main line. The diesel looked up. "Do you mind?" he asked. "Yes," said Bill, "I do. I want my trucks, please." "These are mine," said the diesel. "Go away." Bill pretended to be frightened. "You're a big bully," he whimpered. "You'll be sorry." He moved over the points, ran back, and hid behind the trucks on the other side. Ben now came forward. The diesel had to stop suddenly. "Truck stealer!" hissed Ben. He ran away too, and Bill took his place. This went on and on till the diesel's eyes nearly popped out. "Stop!" he begged. "You're making me giddy." The 2 engines gazed at him side by side. He shut his eyes. "Are there 2 of you?" he whispered. "Yes, we're twins." "I might have known it," he groaned. Just then Edward bustled up. "Bill and Ben, why are you playing here?" "We're not playing," protested Bill. "We're rescuing trucks," squeaked Ben. "What do you mean?" "Even you don't come in our yard without asking, and you only take the trucks we give you." "But," they both squeaked indignantly, "this diseasel didn't even ask. He just took the lot." It was dark by the time the trains reached the junction, and you can guess what happened. Edward went through on the main, while Gordon was switched to the branch. It took the Fat Controller several hours to sort out the tangle and pacify the passengers. In the end, Gordon was left with his fire drawn, cold and cross, on one of Edward's sidings. Bill and Ben peeped into the yard next morning. They wondered if Boko had brought them some trucks. There were no trucks, but they didn't mind that. Teasing Gordon, they thought, would be much better fun. "What's that?" asked Bill loudly. "Shush," whispered Ben. "It's Gordon." "It looks like Gordon, but it can't be. Gordon never comes on branch lines. He thinks them vulgar." Gordon pretended he hadn't heard. "If it isn't Gordon," said Ben, "it's just a pile of old iron, which we'd better take to the scrapyard." "No, Bill, this lot's useless for scrap. We'll take it to the harbour and dump it in the sea." Gordon was alarmed. "I am Gordon. Stop, stop." The twins paid no attention. Gordon shut his eyes and prepared for the worst. The twins argued loudly and long. Bill favoured the scrapyard, while Ben said that the cutting up in such places was something cruel. It would be kinder, he urged, to give these remains a quick end in the sea. Besides, he went on, they would make a lovely splash. Gordon could not view either prospect with any enthusiasm. Up to that time, he had disapproved of diesels. They were, he considered, ugly, smelly, and noisy. But when he opened his eyes and saw Boko coming into the yard, he thought him the most beautiful sight he had ever seen. "Boko, my dear engine," he gasped, "save me." Boko quickly sized up the situation and sent Bill and Ben about their business. They were cheeky at first, but Boko threatened to take away the trucks of coal he'd brought for them. That made them behave at once. Gordon thought he was wonderful. "Those little demons," he said. "How do you do it?" "Ah, well," said Boko, "it's just a knack." Gordon thinks to this day that Boko saved his life. But we know that the twins were only teasing, don't we? Visitors. They loved being photographed and took the party to the workings in a brake van special. On the way home, however, the weather changed. Wind and rain buffeted Edward. His sanding gear failed.
Percy promised to look after Annie and Clarabelle, but they were sorry to see Thomas go. To cheer Thomas up, Edward took him to see Bill and Ben, the twin engines who lived at the China Clay Harbour. "Oh dear, not another blue engine," said Bill cheekily. "First Edward, then Donald and Douglas, and now—" "Don't forget Gordon," interrupted Ben. "He came here once by mistake, so he said. I don't think he enjoyed it much," he added innocently. The twins both chuckled, remembering. "No, but seriously, Edward," said Bill, "why doesn't the Fat Controller paint engines a proper colour, like us, for instance?" Thomas let off steam indignantly. "Let me tell you," he began. "All right, you two," laughed Edward. "Go and move those trucks, or there won't be room for any more." Bill and Ben, unabashed, went off happily. "You just don't have to take them too seriously," explained Edward. Thomas smiled ruefully. "I wish I knew how you deal with them," he said. At the end of the line, Thomas was taken to Bill and Ben's yard to be cleaned. The twins were there. "Hello," said Ben. "What's this?" "Must be a new engine," said Bill. Ben inspected the arrival carefully. "No, Bill," he said, "that's not a new engine. It's Thomas." "But it's our colour, Ben, and Thomas doesn't think our colour is proper for an engine." They heard a grinding noise. "Are your joints stiff, Bill?" asked Ben. But it wasn't Bill's joints. It was Thomas, gnashing his teeth.
It took a long time to clean Thomas properly, and the twins kept teasing him until Edward told them to stop. "A party of railway enthusiasts is coming soon," he said. "I shan't bring them unless you behave." Bill and Ben were excited. Enthusiasts always made a fuss of them and took their photographs. "When?" they squeaked in unison. Edward smiled and winked at Thomas. "Next week," he said, "but not if you don't behave." Bill and Ben promised that they would. "Is it next week?" they asked Thomas each morning. Thomas enjoyed keeping the twins in suspense. "Next week never comes," he would answer mysteriously. Bill and Ben weren't worried. They kept urging their crews to polish them. "What's the hurry?" they laughed. "The enthusiasts aren't going to eat their breakfasts off you, you know." "No," Bill whispered, "but they might if we were Thomas." The twins thought this a huge joke. It was lucky that Edward and Thomas weren't there to hear it. At last the day came, and the drivers and firemen agreed to give the engines an extra polish. They were sparkling when Thomas arrived with a special train. Many of the enthusiasts had notebooks, and almost all had cameras. Bill and Ben didn't know which way to look, but they loved it. Then the visitors queued up for a ride in either Bill or Ben's cab. Their cabs were low, and several visitors forgot to duck, but they didn't seem to mind. The enthusiasts' visit was almost over when a shunter came running up. "A ship needs moving before the tide goes down," he said. "One of you see to it, please." Ben went at once, and most of the visitors went too, to watch. Only one man stayed. He had a camera which took instant pictures. "Just one more," he kept saying. Soon even Bill tired of him. The photographer screwed his camera to a tripod and pointed it at Bill. "This is it," he chortled. "What a picture!" Ben's fireman ran up to them. "Ben needs help," he said. "The ship's going aground, and he can't move it on his own." "Right, Bill," said his driver. "We can't wait any longer." He turned a tap, and with a hiss and a roar, Bill vanished in a cloud of steam. At that moment, the photographer pressed the button. When the steam cleared, Bill was hurrying off to help his twin. The photographer peeled the cover from his instant picture, looked at it, and threw it down in disgust. Quickly, the engines were coupled together. "When I say heave, heave," instructed Ben. "1, 2, 3, heave!" Come on," puffed the engines. The cable tightened and stretched. At last, with a shudder, the ship slid off the mud and, towed by the engines, glided into deeper water. Bill's driver found the discarded photograph on the floor. All it showed was a cloud of steam with, very dimly, Bill's funnel at the top. He showed it to Bill. "What a picture," remarked Bill, to no one in particular. Worried, as other minerals are, it is washed out of the ground with strong hoses. Then the mixture of clay and water has to settle and be dried before Bill and Ben can take it away. Part of the line which the twins use to reach the china clay workings runs near the sea. There is a hollow in the land just here which often floods after heavy rain. Local people call this hollow the drain. The autumn gales which had brought down the farmer's tree for Trevor to cut up were also causing rough seas and high tides. When rain came too, the engine crews looked gloomy. "A really high tide now," said Ben's driver, "could make real trouble at the drain." But though pools of water lay on either side of the line, they grew no larger. Bill and Ben puffed happily to and fro, replacing loaded hoods with empty ones. They forgot about the drain. Then the rain began again, and the wind strengthened. As the engines went to the clay pits that morning, their drivers noticed that the water in the drain was rising. While Bill arranged the empty trucks, Ben prepared to leave with a train of full ones. At the drain, he found that the water was level with the top of the rails. "Come on," said Ben bravely. "We must get through, if only to get help for Bill." Go back," the wind seemed to shriek. Ben took no notice. He was halfway over when the rising tide, whipped into a huge wave by the wind, swept across the line. "Oof!" spluttered Ben as water crashed against his side. "Help!" With a hiss, the water reached his fire. "Quick, Ben," urged his driver, but it was too late. With a despairing gasp, Ben stopped. He was stranded in the middle of the drain, with cold seawater lapping his wheels. The fireman set off to find help. Thomas stopped at the water's edge. His fireman put on the waders and set out, carrying the end of the cable. Ben was delighted to see him. The fireman fastened the cable end to Ben's front coupling. Then he uncoupled the trucks so that Bill, who had come up behind, could pull them clear. "Right," he said as he joined Ben's driver in the cab. "Let's go." Poor Ben had no steam left to whistle, so the driver and fireman waved to show Thomas they were ready. Carefully, Thomas took the strain as he pulled Ben. Slowly, with water cascading all round him, Ben came out of the drain. Once he was clear, Thomas was properly coupled to him and helped him back to his shed. "Thank you, Thomas," said Ben gratefully, and his eyes twinkled for the first time for several hours. It was 4 days before the water in the drain subsided. When Bill reached home, both twins agreed that it would be ungrateful of them ever to tease Thomas again.
It was raining hard. Water swirled under my boiler. I couldn't see where I was going, but I struggled on. "Oh, Percy, you are brave!" "Well, it wasn't anything really. Water's nothing to an engine with determination." "Tell us more, Percy." "What are you engines doing here?" hissed Henry. "This shed is for Sir Topham Hatt's engines. Go away." "Silly things," Henry snorted. Bill and Ben are tank engine twins. Each has 4 wheels, a tiny chimney and dome, and a small squat cab. Their freight cars are filled with china clay. It is needed for pottery, paper, paint, and many other things. The twins are now kept busy pulling the cars for engines on the main line and for ships in the harbor. One morning, they arranged some cars and went away for more. They returned to find them all gone. The twins were most surprised. "It's a waddle?" asked Bill. "A diseasel, I think," replied Ben. "There's a notice about them in our shed. Coughs and sneezels spread diseasels. You had a cough in your smoke box yesterday. It's your fault the diseasel came." "It isn't. It is." "Stop arguing, you two," laughed their drivers. Bill and Ben were horrified. "But the diseasel will magic us away like the freight cars." "He doesn't know you're twins, so we'll take away your names and numbers, and then this is what we'll do." Puffing hard, the twins set off on their journey to find the diesel. They were looking forward to playing tricks on him. Creeping into the yard, they found the diesel on a siding with the missing cars. Ben hid behind, but Bill went boldly alongside. The diesel looked up. "Yes," said Bill, "I do. I want my cars back." Bill pretended not to be frightened. "You're a big bully," he whimpered. "You'll be sorry." He ran back and hid behind the cars on the other side. Ben now came forward. "Car stealer?" hissed Ben. He ran away too. Bill took his place. This went on and on till the diesel's eyes nearly popped out. "Stop, you're making me giddy." The 2 engines gazed at him. "Are there 2 of you?" "Yes, we're twins." "I might have known it." "Bill and Ben, why are you playing here?" "We're not playing," protested Bill. "We're rescuing our cars," squeaked Ben. "Even you don't take our cars without asking, but this diseasel did." "There's no cause to be rude," said Edward severely. "This engine is a Metropolitan Vickers Diesel Electric Type 2. The twins were most impressed. "We're sorry, Mr. "Never mind," the diesel smiled. "Call me Boko. I'm sorry I didn't understand about the cars." "That's all right then," said Edward. "Now off you go, Bill and Ben. Fetch Boko's cars, then you take this lot."
Ben peeped into the yard. There were no trucks for them, but they didn't mind that. Teasing Gordon would be much better fun. "What's that?" asked Bill. "Shh," whispered Ben. "It's Gordon." "It looks like Gordon, but it can't be. Gordon never comes on the branch lines. He thinks them vulgar." Gordon pretended he hadn't heard them. "If it isn't Gordon," said Ben, "it's just a pile of old iron, which we'd better take to the scrapyard." "No, Bill, this lot's useless for scrap. We'll take it to the harbour and dump it in the sea." Gordon was alarmed. "I am Gordon. Stop, stop! Boko, my dear engine, save me!" Boko quickly sized up. This made the twins behave at once. Gordon thought he was wonderful, delighted to see the visitors. They loved being photographed. Later, they took the party to the China Clay Works in a brake van special. Everyone had a splendid time, and the visitors were most impressed. Then Edward took the visitors home. This occasion possible.
It was an important day in the yard. Bill and Ben, the tank engine twins, were busy arranging cars, but they scampered off when they saw Boko.
Bill and Ben are the most mischievous engines working on the Fat Controller's railway. They are kept busy pushing and pulling trucks up and down the line that runs from the China Clay Works to the harbour yard. They like to have fun together and often play tricks on the workmen. Can get them into trouble. One morning, the Fat Controller came to see them. "Oh, yes, sir, of course," replied the twins. They set off happily on their important mission. Boko, here comes trouble. "The Fat Controller told us you were tired," teased Bill. "He asked us to take all your trucks for..." The twins were soon busy pushing and pulling the heavy trucks into place. At last, the day's work was done. The twins now became excited. They were going to use the turntable for the first time. Bill went first. "This is fun," he shrieked to Ben. He didn't want to move off at all. The foreman stopped the turntable. "Please, mate," did so, but unfortunately the foreman had accidentally stopped the turntable in the wrong place. Bill was on the wrong track and there was Ben puffing directly toward him. The engines came to a grinding halt. They gazed grimly at each other. "I was here first," said Bill. "But you're in my way," protested Ben. "You'll have to back up again." "I won't." "You will." "I won't." The Fat Controller came next day. Ben was still grumpy. "That Bill, imagine getting in my way on the turntable. He's a really... You must have heard it all wrong." The twins grumbled about each other all day. Even kind Edward lost patience. All this grumbling spreads bad atmosphere in the... The next morning, he called Bill and Ben into the yard. "A heavy goods train is waiting on the siding. You can..." But, protested Bill and Ben, who were still not speaking on you two. "I'll take the train myself," huffed Ben. "Go right ahead," said Bill. Ben was coupled up to the train of trucks, but they were too heavy for him to move alone. "Go on," teased Bill. "I can't," said Ben. Then suddenly both twins laughed. "I don't think we'll take turns this time, Ben," said Bill. "I think we'd better pull together." Ben was delighted. It was good to be helping each other. Best of all, it was good to be friends again. He talks about the time that Douglas saved him from scrap. If it wasn't...
Bill and Ben were busy at the quarry, pushing and pulling cars filled with clay into their proper places. The twins are cheeky and love playing tricks, but they were growing restless. "Listen, Bill," said Ben. "Can you hear something?" "What sort of something?" asked Bill. "Something different," replied Ben. "I can't hear anything different," said Bill. "Exactly," huffed Ben. "Everything is the same. Sounds the same, looks the same. What we need is a surprise." "Surprise what?" asked Bill. Before Ben could answer, the quarry master from Sir Topham Hatt. "He wants you to go to the station at the harbor." "On this time," said Bill anxiously. "It must be you," replied Ben. "Why me?" exclaimed Bill. "I've not done anything." "We'll do our best, sir," said the twins. Gordon spoke severely to them. "You must behave here. You're on the main line now." "Actually, Gordon," giggled Ben, "when we saw you, we thought this was the scrapyard." Gordon was cross. "Just make sure that my coaches are ready for my evening train." And he fumed away. The twins laughed and set to work. "This is easy," they said to each other. "We know all about cars." But I'm afraid they didn't. "No need for that," shouted the cars as the twins pushed them into place. "We'll show you around. We want to help." "Thank you very much," said Bill and Ben. Muddle. The twins had let the cars tell them where to put things. Bill and Ben tried to sort things out. Next day, the twins were working at the quarry again. "That's a strange noise," gasped Bill. "I've never heard a noise like that before." "Thank goodness we're here," said the twins. Behind, Ben weed he did. Next day, he arrived with Edward. "But you acted quickly and bravely." "Oh, thank you, sir," said Bill. "Being called heroes, well, it's a really nice surprise," laughed Ben.
小さな双子の機関車はビルとベン。
Hooray, hooray, the engines whistled. Bill and Ben, the tank engine twins, work in the clay mines and quarries near Brendam docks. Their work is important, but it can be hot and dirty. Sometimes this makes the twins naughty. One morning they were feeling very naughty indeed. "That's my line of trucks," huffed Bill. "Snot, it's mine," snorted Ben. "Yours is over there." "It's mine, Snot, it's mine." Snot quarrel is. "Silly," snapped Bill. "Silly yourself," grumbled Ben. "Or I shall send you to your sheds," said the fat controller. "To help out. There is only one available." "Hey, you two, why does Percy want to wish us good luck?" asked Bill. "Because he knows we'll need it. A diesel with toothache must be the worst diesel of all." Then their manager spoke. "Tomorrow." It was dark when the twins reached the docks. They left the trucks by the quay and scurried off to the shed. "You do look glum," sighed Duck. "It's the new diesel's fault," replied Bill. "He's got toothache." "Toothache? He's got teething troubles. That means he's new, and this causes some problems. In his case, it's his cooling system." Next morning, as the twins were preparing to take a long train of trucks away, they heard an unfamiliar whistle. "Oh no, it's the new diesel!" "Hello," from behind. All went well as they set off. Then they came to a hill. Come on, push harder, you silly diesel," shouted Ben. And then it happened. "Oh, pa!" snorted. "We'll try." And they could. That night, the fat controller came to see them. "Well, John, Bill and Ben." "Oh, yes, sir." "Boko," whispered Bill. "I'm sorry we were rude to you." "And," added Ben, "the new diesel was really quite friendly." "And you know what friends do," murmured Duck. "Know what?" they asked. They always say goodnight to each other. And so they did, but they still chatted about teething troubles all night long.
Bill and Ben didn't think they needed any help, especially from a diesel. Rocks. "Ah, well," Salty said, "at least there'll be trucks." "He won't last 5 minutes," said Bill. "Those trucks will trip him up soon enough," said Ben. But to Bill and Ben's surprise, the truck seemed Captain yawns. Yo-ho-ho and a bucket of prawns, the tiller spins, and the captain yawns, sang the trucks. Thanks to Salty, Sir Topham Hatt's important job was almost done. Bill and Ben were surprised and a little jealous. Groused Ben. "You have to admit, the driver says he'll bore the bolts off us with his stories," huffed Bill. But Salty didn't say a word. Mavis was worried. She rolled alongside and asked him what he was doing on his own. But Salty knew the quarry work was important. The next day, he tried to show Bill and Ben his secret hooks. Why don't you give it a try, me hearties? Here we go, here we go, here we go. No, we don't, no, we don't, no, we don't. But try as they might, Bill and Ben could not move the trucks the way Salty could. Later that day, Sir Topham Hatt came to the quarry. It was Salty, said Mavis. Bill and Ben arrived for work, full of mischief. You're no fun, Cranky. So that's why you're cranky, said Bill. Oh, please, Salty, they chimed. We haven't heard it. Salty. The engines were trapped. You're gonna get into trouble, says in the morning. Without a scratch, he sailed into port. Powerful storms, daring rescues, and brave little ships. And when the sun rose, he was still talking. Bill and Ben are quarry engines. They are twins. They play together. They shunt freight cars together. They even get up to naughtiness together. Wherever you find Bill, you will find Ben. Wherever you find Ben, you will find Bill. Sir Topham Hatt had come to inspect his quarry engines. He found that Mavis and Bill were in fine working order, Topham Hatt said. Your buffers are deadly for a new set of buffers. Yes, sir, replied Mavis, and was happy. I'm going to get new buffers, he gloated to Bill. Well, I should get new buffers too, Bill complained. We're twins, we do everything together. But you don't need new buffers, Ben teased. You're only getting new buffers because you're so clumsy, snorted Bill enviously. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. Will you two stop being crab pots? Mavis scolded. Now, come on, Bill. We've got work to do. Ben couldn't wait to get new buffers. Later, Bill watched as Ben chuffed away to the engine works. He was green with envy. He wanted new buffers too. Bill returned to his job, but he wasn't thinking about work. All he could think about was Ben's new buffers. Ooh, said Bill. Shit. Bill tried thinking about birds. He tried thinking about trees. He tried thinking about anything but Ben and his brand new buffers. But it didn't work. I want new buffers too, he cried. Just be not fair, Bill huffed, and he wheezed. Oops, sorry, said Bill. Bill tried his best to get on with his work, but the troublesome trucks had spotted a chance for a tease. I might not have new buffers, he said, but I still know how to biff troublesome trucks. No, Mavis cried. But it was too late. Ben puffed into the quarry with his shiny new buffers, just in time to hear... Bust my buffers, cried Bill. I think you have, said Ben. When Sir Topham Hatt arrived and saw Bill's broken buffers, he was not happy himself. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir, said Bill. I want you to think about what it means to be a Yes, sir, answered Bill meekly. After Sir Topham Hatt had left, Ben rolled up to Bill with his new buffers gleaming. They are nice buffers, Bill said. Thanks, Ben said. I'm sorry I teased you. That's all right, Bill said. I was naughty too. Of course you were, said Ben. We're twins.
Fergus arrived at the quarry. He went to work with Bill and Ben were delighted. Now we'll have some fun, whistled Ben. Yeah, we'll have the old boiler in a spin, steamed Bill. Bill banged his freight cars hard. Some rocks fell onto... Bill didn't like being ordered about by a traction engine. Don't interfere! To block the line. Fergus was stuck. Out of my way, steamed Fergus. But Ben just grinned. Wait for the all clear signal, Fergus called to Bill and Ben. Do it right. There he goes again, puffed Bill. Do it right. From morning till night. Keep your funnel out of our quarry, huffed Ben. The quarrymaster sent Bill and Ben to collect a rock crusher from the harbor. The twins were still thinking about Fergus. He's just an old fusspot, said Bill. He's always saying, do it right. Well, the next thing he tells us to do, wheezed Bill, we'll do it wrong. They laughed. Bill and Ben steamed back to the quarry. The rock crusher was heavy. It shook the rails as they went. But the twins took no notice of Fergus and were very naughty. As roughly as they could, they rattled the load towards the cliff. And he rushed forward, and he bumped Bill and Ben out of the way. His driver, and no one worked harder to help than Bill and Ben. At last, Fergus was free. Bill and Ben were ashamed. We shouldn't have been so naughty, said Bill. We're very sorry. But
when Thomas arrived at the docks, there was James. He was showing his new trucks to Bill and Ben. I've got new trucks too, puffed Thomas. They're even nicer than James's, puffed Bill and Ben.
Thomas was approaching a tunnel when he saw Ben. Ben looked unhappy. What's the matter? Asked Thomas kindly. I was enjoying myself until I met Diesel, said Ben unhappily.
He told me a monster lives in this tunnel. Now I'm too scared to go through. I'm sure Diesel can't be right about the monster, Thomas said. Why don't I go into the tunnel first, he said. Then you can follow me. He heard a strange noise. Ben was also very relieved. You're a very brave engine, said Ben. Now I can finish my job. And he puffed away. He remembered that he still had to get...
All the engines of Sodor are very happy to work on Sir Topham Hatt's railway. Thomas arrived at the quarry. My, said Mavis, you're the shiniest engine I've ever seen. Thomas was pleased. He puffed off.
Just then, Bill and Ben chuffed by. Between them was a big black truck. It was biffing and bashing the little engines. What are you two doing? Tooted Thomas. Bill and Ben told him they were delivering the truck to the coaling plant. Because he really doesn't like to be shunted, chuffed Ben. His name is Hector, huffed Bill. But we call him Hector the Horrid. Bill and Ben chuffed slowly away with Hector.
Bill told Ben, and Ben told Molly. They cheered and they whistled, they felt so jolly.
Ben was shunting a flatbed of logs. Gordon biffed straight into them. But Gordon didn't know which track to take. What have you done? Gordon knew his shortcut hadn't worked. Now he needed to ask for help. Can you help me, Ben? Of course. Ben was happy to help. Soon the track was clear, and Gordon steamed away. He had to warn Stanley.